Hello guys, welcome back. Today's video is going to be about the weak points of a GHK AK version 2 gas blowback rifle. And a little bit of a disclaimer up front. Usually in this series of videos I will have experience using one of these rifles, so perhaps the sample size is a little too small, meaning that maybe I have some crazy flaw or something breaking on me, but it is not a widespread design flaw or common occurrence, etc. Another disclaimer is that I will talk about some internet reported issues from other people on the internet in forums or Reddit posts or whatever. And you know how the internet is. Sometimes there are crazy rumors, and sometimes people that don't even have experience keep spreading those information, even though they have no idea if that's true or not. So take the following information with a grain of salt, and you can decide yourself if it is a one-off issue or a crazy internet rumor or actual issue that you'll have to watch out for. And these videos are not meant to slam a company's product or anything. I just want to show some of the weak points that I have found, and some of them aren't even that serious. This is more about what to avoid doing to avoid breaking something, because you'll have to repair it, get parts, wait for parts, etc. Before we start, GHK AK V2 system is different from V1 and V3. From what I remember, V1 GHK AK gas blowback rifles are a conversion kit for the D-Boy AK AEGs. At the time, I guess, before GHK can have the ability to make these, they make those kits that consist of a hop and inner barrel set, a gas blowback magazine, bolt, fire control group, that kind of stuff, that you can purchase a D-Boy AK AEG separately and then buy one of those kits and put them together and get a early type of gas blowback AK. And those, I had one of those. It had some problems with parts availability, because, for example, if I break one part, I can't go to GHK and say, hey, I need to order this part because it's discontinued 10 plus years ago. You can tell them apart by the different magazines. I think what happened to the GHK AK V1 kit is that SRC bought the rights to it. So if you look at SRC AK magazines, they are very similar to those of the GHK AK V1 conversion kit ones. So yeah, maybe that's what ended up happening with those things. And maybe you can even get replacement parts, now that I think about it. Maybe I had a chance to replace my cracked hop chamber or receiver or whatever. So yeah, something to keep in mind about. The GHK AK V3 is a relatively new product, and there is probably plenty of information online about the new GHK AK V3 differences. There's a more convincing looking Bakelite grip as opposed to the V2's AK-74M, glossy black rear grip, or the AKM's very fake brown plastic grip. And there are other kinds of improvement to like the bolt or like the outer barrel or like the receiver itself, etc. So most of the AKs you will encounter in the wild at this point in time are all going to be V2 AKs. Different configurations like the AK-105, AK-74U, etc. even more likely to be V2s because GHK only released the AKM version of the V3 as far as I remember. Most of the AKs that you have seen or probably will see for in the near future are probably all going to be the V2 kind. Anyway, the first weak point that I have found is the outer barrel. The outer barrel is a aluminum piece, and the problem that I have found with it is that over time the little cutouts for the pins to go through might enlarge, and then the gas block and front side might be a little wobbly. The rear side block has 2 grip screws underneath, so even if the divot has been enlarged, it will not be loose. And the front side of the AK-74M and even this AKM has a little screw in it, and the threads are in the aluminum barrel, so there's just a hole in the front side base, and the screw passes through that and screws into the outer barrel. And that is one weak point I have encountered, because on my previous AK-74M, the screw hole in the aluminum barrel stripped. Yeah, maybe it's because the outer barrel is too soft, or maybe it's because it's hard to drill and tap the hole that is precisely in the position when you put the front side base on. So in my example, I have seen that it seems the hole is a little wonky. So like for example, with the front side base on, the front side base's hole is here, and the screw hole is a little bit like over here, a little forward or backwards. So the threads are actually in this part of the hole only. So it's doubly easier to strip the thread or whatever. And when you do that, it lost this securing screw, and when that pin divot is also enlarged, the front side base might wobble, which is going to be trouble if you plan on using the iron sights. It is a little weird to make a weak point video on the GHK AK V2 because the receiver and a lot of the external parts are built like a tank. It's actually steel, and it is fairly hard for us users to determine what alloy is actually used in these parts, because steel is not the only metal that is magnetic, and there are different kinds of steel alloys as well, and there's a difference in the heat treatment. When you are forging a knife, you'll see the blacksmith put it in the water and it goes. Yeah, that's heat treating. That will make the part stronger. I've seen other brands of like the AK selector is fairly weak. You can use your fingers to bend them. They're like a metal can. It's not very strong. But the GHK AK seems to be, if I remember correctly, they worked with LCT to bring us this AK rifle. So all the parts are pretty solid, good construction material and finish wise. Another weak point that I found is that the trigger guard. These are screws. These are like M2 and a half size metric screws. So The threads are pretty fine instead of a coarse thread, very big engagement area kind of deal. So I have seen, I think there's another screw down here securing the back of the trigger guard to the receiver. I have seen that screw being stripped, and I have seen the trigger guard being forced a little forward by the rear grip so that the back of it lifts off from the receiver. If that happens to you and you didn't catch it when you are putting on a aftermarket grip or whatever, and you allow it to push this assembly forward and strip all of these screw holes out, you'll be very sad, because probably going to be fairly hard to repair. I've seen that happen on my AK-74M. The back got pushed forward by a aftermarket, like a rip-off of a MOE grip or whatever. Also, if this is loose, you can, because your shooting hand is on this, so the whole rifle might, the weight might be supported by this grip. There might be a chance, if this is loose, that you will just push on this thing and cause damage to it. Another weak point that I've seen is the charging handle. The original bolt carrier group is cast like aluminum or zinc alloy, and I've seen that handle snap off quite a lot, and I mean alarmingly a lot, like at least like 3, 4, 5 times on like Reddit posts, local Airsoft groups, chat rooms, etc. And a lot of times people will put the Zenico enlarged charging handle thing on it, and I have made a video about it. That might be a known issue, like maybe it's something to do with physics, like you have a thing on there and it slams back and forth, and the momentum or whatever causes it to break. Or maybe it's just that the aftermarket Zenico is not made properly. It is a little crooked and it hits on this ridge right here, and that forces the charging handle to bend down and break or whatever. So that's another weak point. Oh, and another weak point is that the original bolt carrier group and the fake piston up there. The fake piston is removable. You can screw that off. And if I remember correctly, the connecting piece, which is a only thread bolt, you cut the head off of a bolt and you only get the thread part. That is, if I remember correctly, made out of plastic, and obviously if something is to force it to bend or something, it might break. So yeah, that's one. And obviously these are real wood hand guards, and wooden hand guards or wooden furniture, actual furniture like a chair or whatever, is susceptible to being like hit and dent, or like scraped, and you'll have a scrape mark all over your wooden handguard. That is what I consider a weak point, but it is not exclusive to the GHK AK. On a lot of other brands of airsoft guns, I don't know if their surface finish is different or the steel is different or whatever. It is fairly common, in my opinion, from what I've seen, to have like a WeTech AK and have some specks of surface rust developing. Also, it's L85 rifle, the British green bullpup rifle, to have some surface rust developing on its receiver, and GHK and LCT seems to have less of that problem. But I have a little bit of the surface rust on the front side, the gas block of my LCT RPK rifle, and I think that is my fault, because I went to the beach and the salty sandy stuff got put over my bag of airsoft stuff. So maybe this is fairly corrosion resistant as long as you don't put salt or water on it. Another thing that I've seen people talk about in the past is that airsoft AKs will sometimes come with this Warsaw packed scope mount, and people have warned that do not use that thing unless you want, if you bump into something and the whole thing fall off or whatever. I think that is more like a general warning of other brands. LCT and GHK ones, it might not have that problem because of how robust the receiver is made, but I don't want to tempt fate or whatever, so I probably will not use that scope mount to mount something in case it got ripped off and come clean off completely or something. Another weak point of the GHK rifle seems to be the magazines are leaky. I don't know if that is a GHK specific problem, because magazine leaks are like one of those things that people have different opinions on, like should you leave gas in it, should you leave a little gas in it, or completely dry. And yeah, people have different opinions on it, different tips, different experience, and different biases. So maybe my impression of GHK mags being leaky is my own bias, and to actually find out if it actually leaks more than other brands, you'll have to have a large scale, a lot of different magazines in a controlled environment in different kinds of situation to experiment if it is indeed more leaky or not. Anyway, the GHK mags, mine ones did leak before. Basically, you have a metal chamber made out of metal parts, and different metal parts coming together will have to seal to get a airtight seal for the compressed gas to not leak out. And to do that, you have a gasket of some kind to press in between those parts, and gaskets fail. Gaskets can age and crack or shrink or whatever, and loses its rubber-like properties, and then it will fail. A lot of times the place you put gas in and the gas valve coming out will leak, and you can actually disassemble those and put fresh new O-rings in it to fix it. It seems that GHK mags might be a little leaky. I don't exactly know if that's true or not, but I did have leaky magazines in the past. Oh, and also, because this is steel and it is so robust, sometimes people will suggest some dumb things to fix your rifle or something, and that is a hazard, because I had a selector plate like this that is a little bent or something, and I decided that, hey, it's an AK, how bad can it be? So I took the top cover off, I rotated this piece over here and pressed on it, and it broke, but not the external stamped steel piece. The internal cast alloy piece snapped off. So how it works is that there is a leaf-like thing that pivots with the selector, and then there's a big screw, and this piece is screwed on. So when this piece turns, the leaf part turns, and that's what breaks, the leaf part. So I had to get a replacement one, and it is harder to take this screw off without scratching it up, because you'll have to get a plier to try and turn this to separate it from the internal leaf part. So yeah, if you decide to bend your selector piece back into shape or whatever, and you do that, it might break. But that is more of like a user error than the strength of this thing. The GHK AK is built like a tank. It's very durable. But I have heard online that people's sear or fire control groups get worn down and break over time. So that is perhaps a weak point as well. And the fix to that is like steel parts or replacement parts. That might not be that bad of a weak point because other brands like WeTech or whatever also has alloy parts as their fire control group parts, and those sometimes you'll have a mystery issue, like why doesn't it fire 50% of the time or whatever, and it is extremely annoying. In terms of the AK, the fire control group is very big, the parts are very big, and there's a strength in big parts, simple parts, that it probably won't fail unless like the back of the sear is broken off or something's very obvious. So that's a bonus to it. You probably won't get a mystery fail that every part look probably about working, but it just didn't work sometimes. You probably won't get it on an AK. So yeah, it's not all bad, and it's not a unique problem to the GHK AK. Another thing about the outer barrel is that the paint on it seems to be very weak. That to the point that simply taking off the front handguard cap, pushing it forward, will in some case will leave a lot of scrapes on the barrel. Oh, also a safety hazard. Probably should have mentioned this earlier. That if you have the AK in the hammer forward position, have the magazine inserted, and then you did this, it might go off. As you can see, this piece is the thing that pushes on the gas valve, and when you're using it normally, when the hammer goes forward, it pushes on the gas valve on the magazine. When you're doing that thing that I just did, you can see that it sometimes didn't quite catch on the trigger hook, the sear. So it will come back and go forward, and it's going to cause the rifle to go off, even on safe. So if you do that press check thing on purpose or as a force of habit, you might have a very bad day having this thing slam into this sheet metal piece, pinching your finger or whatever in between at a dramatic force. So yeah, it's perhaps a thing to think about before you press check it or even putting the magazine in. When you put the magazine in, do not screw with the bolt handle. It might go off and pinch or even cut your finger. Oh, and another thing, I think perhaps because this receiver was maybe produced by LCT and had to accommodate the gearbox of a AG rifle or whatever, the back edge of the receiver seems to be a little weird, like compared to a KSC one. You can see that it is a little bit like this, while the GHK one is a little bit more like that. Perhaps a better look like so. The back edge of the receiver seems to be at a weird angle, and that might cause problems if you plan to use a aftermarket M4 buffer tube adapter thing, or like a real seal rear stock, it might be at a weird angle. Another thing that can happen with V2 AKs is that there is originally a plastic block here to limit the travel of the bolt. I have changed to a full travel kit, so it's no longer on my AK. But the problem with that is that over time the plastic block can be battered and move back and forth a lot, and eventually it will be worn down to the point that it's not sitting in the receiver snugly anymore. So as you fire, it can flip up, tilt up like so, and when the bolt come back, it can impact this part. So if you see a original GHK AK guide rod with this part of the middle bent up, or this roll pin or whatever is loose, causing this back piece to rock back and forth, that might be the reason why it's doing that. Another problem I heard is that the nozzle inside of the bolt, the plastic nozzle, the wings on the side can break off, and maybe that is can be remedied if the rails inside of the bolt carrier is smooth or whatever. Another problem seems to be that some GHK V2 AKs have the barrel not straight. It is down a little bit. Instead of being straight, it is a little like this. And there are debates online whether that's true or not. There are fixes online telling you how to fix the drooping issue. You can check that out. The problem with that is that the front trunnion and the outer barrel is screwed together. So the outer barrel has threads on the outside of it, and it screws into this hole. If this threaded hole is this direction, it's going to be fairly hard to fix. The solution seems to be to trim the threaded part so it can allow the barrel to go like this, and then glue it in place. So yeah, maybe if you want to buy one of these, you might have to check it out in person and look down the side of the receiver to check if the barrel is drooping. Or maybe you don't even care if you can't see the drooping, it's not bothering you, you can enjoy the rifle as usual. I think that is about it. Recently I hit 130 subscribers, and when I was making the CS2 AK-47 video, I only had 47 subscribers. So quite a lot of people have decided to subscribe to my channel proportional wise in this period of time. Thanks so much for your subscription. It means a lot to me. If you can leave a comment or like the video or something, it also will boost my video a little bit, and it costs you no money. So yeah, if you appreciate this kind of information, please press a like or something. I'll appreciate it very much. I think the GHK AK is a pretty solid option for people to have. This video is certainly not a jab at the company, because they probably no longer make V2 AKs. And also, I appreciate these so much that I had 3 of these. So yeah, I certainly trust the GHK AK V2, and I think it is very robust and a good option. So don't have the wrong impression that I really hate these things. Thank you so much for watching this video. See you next time.